Hi, I'm Beverly Payne, and this is Payne and Simple Makes. Thanks for joining me today. So I've said time and again that I'm a summer girl at heart, and that's true, but I also enjoy the fall. I like the colors of fall. I like some of the things that we do, football games. It's homecoming at church for us in October, so that always means great singing and great preaching and really great food. But I love the colors of fall, and I like to do fall-oriented projects. And so that's what I have for you today, is a fall wreath project. And this one, although it's quite simple to make, it does take a little bit of time. So we are going to make this fall fabric rag wreath. And so you just use your fabric scraps. So if you're a quilter or a sewer, sewist, I think is the term now, you probably have plenty of fabric scraps left around. I know that I did. I still have some. Who knows? Maybe I'll make another fall wreath. But you're going to take your scraps and you're going to cut them into 1.5 by 7-inch strips. And here are some of the colors that I chose for my wreath. And so this can be a bit of a time-consuming process right here, just this part, because for a 14-inch wreath, which is what this size here is, I think I used, I think it was around 300, I think I had a note, I made a note, but I can't find it now, around 350 some pieces of fabric, or strips of fabric. So it'll take a little while for you to actually cut those up. If you've got a cutting machine, you could do that. I don't know if it'll be any quicker, but you could try it if you wanted to. I just either cut or just tore the fabric, and it came along pretty well. So what you're going to need basically are a few colors of fabric, whatever fall fabric you want, and then a metal wreath frame. And this is a 14-inch one. I got it at the Dollar Tree. It was $1. And that's really all that you need, that and some time, because like I said, it'll take time to cut your strips up, and then it's also going to take a little bit of time because you're going to tie these around your metal wreath frame. But it's a lot of fun, and it's a very farmhousey, country kind of wreath, and it's something that you can keep from year to year, and it'll be a great addition to your fall decor. So let's get started and make a fall fabric. Today we're going to be making a fall wreath. This is a fabric scrap wreath, or maybe you've heard it called a rag wreath. You need some fabric scraps in autumn colors, or if it's another season you want to make a wreath for, then whatever is appropriate. So I've got some yellow, some orange, some greens, and some browns with more orange and yellow tones in there. So I'm just using scraps, literally, and in fact I'm probably don't have quite enough of this yellow. There's not a whole lot there. Same thing with this color of green. I think you're going to need about 2 yards of fabric total. So whatever your scrap makes that up to be. You're also going to need a wire wreath form. You can get these at the dollar store. And you're also going to need some fabric scissors, or maybe you prefer a rotary cutter, and that's fine too. If you have a cutting mat, that'll probably make it a little easier. And then of course you're going to need a ruler, because we need to make sure that all of our strips are the same. All of our scraps are the same size for this. So, and I do really want you to see that I'm using some scraps. Now this, I don't even know where I got it. It's $1, so you know it's not much, but here is, some other smaller pieces that I have. This right here is a sheet set, part of a sheet set. I'm going to say something wrong here in a second. And these are definitely scraps that I had left over from a skirt project that I did maybe two falls ago, maybe. So just choose your fabric, and then we're gonna cut our strips into 1.5 by 7-inch strips. So you want to get this unfolded. So this is a simple project, but it is not a quick project because you have to cut all of these strips. And those of you who are quilters, you probably have a lot of scraps left, but you also probably know about jelly rolls. And a jelly roll might be a quick way to go here. All right, so I'm going to cut these 2 short orange pieces, or 2 scrap orange pieces at 7 inches, because that's how long we need them. I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to cut in 1.5 increments so that we get these the correct size. So I'm just using my cutting mat and this acrylic ruler to help me keep things measured correctly. Again, you know, this is one of those projects where you don't have to be exact, but we can't be too sloppy either. And for some reason, I don't know, cutting fabric has always been a little bit of a challenge for me. I feel like there's some trick or tip that I did not learn. So if you know what it is, be sure and tell me. So it can take a little while, but you just want to cut all your strips. I'm cutting 2 layers at a time here, which is going to save me a little bit of time. And I think, cut up to 5 or 6 layers. It just depends on what you're comfortable with. Alright, so that was another way of cutting these strips. And you see how it kind of makes the edges frayed? That lends some dimension to your wreath. So feel free to do that if you don't want to be precise with your, or if you don't want to use scissors and do a whole lot of exact cutting. You can do exactly what I just did, which is you want to make a little cut, and I'm doing this at 1.5, right? Because that is how wide we want our strips. And then I just pull, and it's going to tear right down the line. And then you can measure another. And so this is really a little quicker for me. Now, I didn't get that cut, did I? That may not be true for everyone. And if you don't like the look of the frayed edges, then you may want to just go ahead and use your rulers and scissors or rotary cutter and cut that way, and that's fine. So here is all of my orange that I've cut up, and notice that I even use this selvage here. It's fine. It's fine. So I have my strips, and these were kind of short strips, but I'm going to stack several of these. You can see how my measurement there was not not exact. Like I said, you want to be fairly exact, but you know, don't stress over it, because this is supposed to be a fun and relaxing thing to do. So you want to just get close like I did. Okay, so what you want to do then is have several of them stacked up. And how many did I end up with? There's 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I've got 5, and you want to measure down 7 inches. So You can tell here with my cutting mat, here's 7. I guess I could have used my numbers here on the edge, but I'm just going to cut, and I usually do that a couple of times just to make sure I've got a clean cut. So there's 1 stack, and I'm going to bring this up. And we're going to cut again. And I'll just run my cutter a couple of times there. And oh, this is going to be good. We're going to have very, very little left over. That's it on this one. So that is great. Okay, so now I'm just going to finish cutting all those long strips into short strips. So phew, that was a lot of cutting of strips. So for my yellow fabric I had, I only ended up with 33 because remember that was my smallest piece. And I think, you know, this is the only one too where I really tried to get the nice crisp edges. The rest of them, I tore the fabric. So orange, this beautiful orange, I've got 100 of these. Notice I also am using that selvage. You don't have to, but that's up to you. This sort of sage green with the circles on it, I have 200 of these, which is really more than I need or want, but that's what it cut up to. And then on this brown and tan multicolor here, I have 75, so not quite. I wish I had 100 of these, but it's close enough. So I'm thinking that you need between 320 to 350 strips of fabric cut up for this size of wreath or wire frame. And so this next step is also going to be time consuming. Let me move my strips out of the way. You're just going to take a strip. I'm just going to fold it in half lengthwise like this. And I like to work from the inside ring to the outer rings. So I'm just going to tie it on, make a little knot. Okay, and then I'm going to choose another color. Well, I can't seem to pick up more than, or I can't seem to pick up just one. And I'm going to again fold it in half, and I'm going to tie it onto this inner ring. And you know, I try to tie pretty snug, but at the same time you've got to be able to scoot it up there next to that first one. So I'm going to go with my next one. I'm folding it. I'm about to unfold that one. Knot it. And slide it on up there. Now if you're like me and your numbers are a little out of balance, you know, like I've got, what, 33 and 100 and 275. So you want to kind of be thinking strategically about how you're going to add these in. So I know I have a lot more of these green. So my wreath is probably going to be a little heavier on the green, which is fine. It's just whatever you have fabric wise and whatever you want. Now if you end up purchasing fabric because you don't have any scraps, then, you know, I would suggest maybe starting with 4 colors and just buying a half a yard each, unless you want to, you know, purchase some strips like a jelly roll. And you're just going to continue to knot